Hey guys, Dan here with Battlefield Curator. This is my brother Andrew.
Howdy.
And we're at the Royal Tiger Imports HQ in beautiful and sunny Melbourne, Florida. So let's go inside and see what kind of military surplus items they got. All right, we're here with Shaw, warehouse manager here at Royal Tiger Imports. Shaw, tell us a little bit about the facility here.
Sure. Well, Royal Tiger Imports, we're located here in Melbourne, Florida. This is our main warehouse with some of the firearms. We, of course, sell firearms, we sell surplus, we sell accessories, a little bit of everything. So in a moment, we'll give a nice little brief rundown of what we offer, and we'll just get right into it.
All right, yeah, so let's go on a tour and check out some of these rifles and weapons that they got here.
A first little spot to take a look at is we've got some 1870/87/15 Italian Vetterli rifles. These are the ones that were originally chambered in the 10-4 black powder cartridge, but have been rechambered for 6.5 Carcano using the 6-round M-block clips. These came out of Ethiopia. You can see they're in the original condition as we found them. Some of them are pretty used. Others are almost like new. It's pretty incredible. You've got quite a few of those that came out of Ethiopia.
And when we talk about the Ethiopian surplus, that's not the only thing you have here, right? There's other countries' surplus you got here.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit of Italian surplus that came straight from Italy with Carcano carbines and rifles. We've also got some of the special troops carbines that, of course, came from Italy as well. We've also got Israeli surplus, some leftover parts, and a little bit of everything. And hopefully we're getting an even more surplus in the coming year. Yeah, speaking of Israeli surplus, we got 1919 A4 barrels in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So here we've got some of the Gras artillery musketoons, as well as the Gras cavalry carbines. Let's get one of those out. Let's take a look and see. This one has a different barrel band on it, but otherwise it's all there.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Emperor Selassie, he ordered a lot of these French rifles. Those are actually one of the first rifles he ended up buying from France. Early 1900s, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and actually, if you look in some of the archive footage, you can see when he was coronated, you can see these rifles in that footage.
Hold on. Who is this Emperor Selassie, and why did he order all these rifles? Well, let's learn a little bit about him so we can better understand the history of this weapons cache. Haile Selassie ruled as emperor of the predominantly Christian Ethiopia from 1936 until 1974. Emperor Selassie realized that the African nations were very vulnerable to European oppression, so he began ordering a bunch of rifles to help defend against any kind of European aggression. And of course, in 1934, the Italians under Benito Mussolini thought that they could get into Ethiopia and use it for political reasons. And that didn't work out so well. Emperor Selassie had to exile in 1936, but the British came in and some of the Allies came in and helped, and they kicked the Italians out of Ethiopia. Post-war, Emperor Selassie still kept buying weapons, and in 1974, a communist takeover happened, which put him out of rule. In 1975, at age 83, he was murdered in his sleep. Emperor Selassie is well known for abolishing slavery in Ethiopia, as well as joining the League of Nations. He is also seen as the messiah of the Rastafarian religious movement.
And you mentioned taking a look at Carcanos. Got this bin, which I pulled down.
Oh, okay, awesome.
This is the very last of what we have for first model special troop carbines.
Wow.
And these are the ones that came directly from Italy.
Okay, so these are not Ethiopian surplus.
Yes, yeah, we did have some of the TS first models that came from Ethiopia, but this is the most recent batch straight out of Italy, and you can see the condition is much nicer. These things are pretty well cared for.
How do you guys do like the hand select bore?
For the hand select bore, we have our cleaning station right here, and what we'll go through is go through with a cleaning brush, clean out the bore nicely, and depending on the caliber, we actually have some proper bore gauges. Basically, just going through, hand selecting a bore, making sure that it checks out on the gauge, and it's good to go.
Awesome, awesome. Can we see a bore from one of these TS carbines?
Absolutely. Let's see, we've got our small bore snake. Let's take a look at this one.
All right, Italian surplus.
Oh, it's the real deal.
Yeah.
Let's set the bolt to the side for now.
Yeah, let's take a bore light in there.
Sure.
Yeah, I got a bore light.
See. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
That comes prepared.
Good.
Yeah.
That one, that's just with the first pass through.
Oh yeah, look at that. Kind of see the lands and grooves in there.
Got a bunch of World War II 45 ACP, Korean era 30-06, and lots of other ammunition.
Do you still have 30 carbine?
No, 30 carbine we're actually sold out of. That stuff sold out in the first few months that we had it. These are the cavalry carbines. You can see this one definitely needs a wipe down, but all complete, and it'll clean up nicely.
Yep, Italian surplus.
Oh yeah.
Yet again.
And of course the folding bayonet.
Yeah. Awesome.
Very neat.
Where do you put your import mark on the cavalry carbines?
On the cavalry carbines, we unfold the bayonet and mark them on the underside right there.
Okay.
So there's no markings on the receiver. It's as is.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to know.
The newest import mark machine we have is actually a very nice laser engraver, which is even smaller and cleaner of a mark than this one.
Awesome. So these
Out of the way.
Model 98s, they're from Ethiopia, correct?
Yes, yeah, these came out of Ethiopia and were most likely acquired, they've probably acquired them through a few different countries, but most likely acquired through Russia or Czechoslovakia.
So that would have been post-World War II.
Exactly. Yeah, they had a lot of surplus K98s, and Ethiopia was, of course, looking for as many arms as it could possibly find. So they got quite a bit of K98s. You've also got 24-47 Yugo Mausers. You've got M48s. Basically, most Mauser actions, they were wanting to get their hands on them.
See, there's some markings on the buttstock there. For this
Yes.
one right here, yeah.
That one is actually an Ethiopian police marking.
Interesting. Wow. So that was actually used by the Ethiopian police.
And this one is a BYF 43. Still got its markings. Pretty plain for the most part, but
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, pretty neat.
Yeah. What about the bore on that one? Let's
see.
Let's check it out.
The bores on the K98s vary because they did use pretty corrosive ammunition, but
Yeah.
let's clean it up and see how it turns out.
And these are offered with bore select, aren't they?
Yes, we do have them with a nice hand select bore. A lot of these weapons were entered into storage in about the mid-1970s after the communist takeover, and they were probably not very well cleaned, or some of them at least. So they will have been sitting in a warehouse for at least 40, 50 years with that corrosive ammunition still having been fired. Let's take a look. Wow, this one cleaned out beautifully.
Really?
That's
Okay.
very nice.
Oh man. Okay.
That's just one
Yeah,
initial
just
pass.
one pass through. You can see the lands and grooves in there. A little bit of rust.
Not too bad for sitting in a warehouse for half a decade.
Yeah. So how does the refurbish process work?
So the refurbished firearms that we sell, we actually have them done at a different facility. We have them completely stripped down, for the Garands specifically. They're completely stripped down, sandblasted, and reparkerized. So they strip every single component down to the bare component of firing pin and every single small part of the Garand. Then they'll go through, of course, parkerize it and assemble it, function test. They do put a brand new wood stock on them. It's a very nice, proper, it's a walnut stock that they use on that one. And of course, like I mentioned, they test fire it, make sure that the bore checks out. If the barrel is really worn out on a particular Garand, they will replace it. So we guarantee that it has an excellent bore on it, and otherwise it's good to go.
Awesome. Okay. They still got a plentiful amount of Garands here.
Yes, quite a few.
Yeah. All right.
But you can see we've still got quite a few right here.
All right. So we got a few here, and what's the earliest serial number you've seen on here? What's the earliest date?
We have actually seen 4-digit serial numbers in this batch, and I'll show
Really?
you one of those later. We've got about a 5,800 in there. It's very,
Wow.
very low.
Yeah. Did any of them come with the gas trap?
We have not found a gas trap yet. I've been keeping my eyes peeled, taking a look around,
Yeah.
hoping, crossing my fingers that we get a gas trap. But at the moment, we've only found them with the standard gas block on them.
Wow. That would be interesting if you did find a gas trap one.
Yeah, I mean, that would be quite the rarity.
Yeah. So what's the number on the buttstock here? Let's see.
That is an Ethiopian rack number. It's a pretty standard numbering system we've seen on them. It's usually a 2-digit number followed by a 4-digit number. You can see quite a few of them have that exact style of number on them. Something added by the Ethiopians later.
Okay. Awesome, awesome.
And you will see both a combination of, usually World War II receiver ones, and you also see a fair amount that are post-war. This is a 4.3 serial number range, so probably post-war. But otherwise, it's all complete.
Wow, okay. And what's the bore on that one? You think we could check that out?
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always important, if you want to have something that shoots well, to have a quality bore in it. That's why we do offer our hand select bore. And of course, you can feel free to, if anybody's interested in particular bore quality, they can call in and ask. We do have pretty competent customer service up front that is able to relay exactly the condition of some of the bore quality. As we've mentioned before, some of the older guns that are nearing like 100 or 130 years old may not have the best bore. It's just how it is.
That's how it is, yeah.
But other guns like these, they generally clean up pretty nicely. So let's take a look.
Let's take it out. Okay, so I can see some lanes and grooves in there. Not as bad as the K98, but it should clean up real nice. Just some oil and bore cleaner, probably.
Exactly.
Not bad at all.
Really, something interesting about these carbines is that a lot of them, they appear to have carried a lot, but they didn't shoot them as much. So the bores on them, in combination with also being used with only non-corrosive ammunition, the bores are fantastic on these. You will see some that are a little bit tired, of course, like any batch surplus, but in general, they're quite nice. So, for example, we've got a quality HMC. This is an early one.
That's really early, yeah.
Yeah. You can tell the stock has been updated on this one, but otherwise, that appears to be the only thing. It's still got your push-button safety.
It's got the rear sight. That's the
flip style.
Yep.
Exactly. And a non-M marked magazine catch.
Oh, yeah.
You got all of your early parts, and that's a Rockola barrel, which is proper for that.
All right. Awesome.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
And then we've also got some particularly nice ones.
Okay. Wow, I like the wood on that one, yeah.
Yeah, and this appears to be all correct.
Yeah, you just wipe that wood down a little bit more, and it should look really good, yeah.
That'll clean up great. And that one is fairly early. It's a 67,000 serial number.
Okay, wow, look at that. What's the manufacturer on that one?
This one is an inland.
Yeah, look at all those carbines, man. And so, what time period would these M1 carbines and M1 Garands would have come into Ethiopia?
We suspect that they've done them in several batches, usually in around the late 60s date. I've seen a couple, very, very few M1 carbines with a post-World War II barrel date. So I've seen Springfield Armory, like October of 1951 barrel date. So meaning that they didn't get dropped off immediately after World War II. They were most likely brought back to the warehouse, overhauled, and then either sat in the warehouse for a little while, then dropped off, or dropped off immediately after. You also see with the Garands, you've seen some very early 60s or late 50s barrel dates. So judging by the refurbishment overhaul, we can say that it showed up in about the mid-60s.
Okay, awesome.
And
all right.
Another interesting one that we can take a look at is, I think I've got some right here. This is it's a Winchester Garand. And you can see, even though it's covered in crud, the original receiver finish still shows through. And it's not too bad.
Wow. Yeah, it's not Parkerized. It's that earlier style.
Exactly.
Of
that blued receiver.
Blued, yeah.
Yeah, it's really neat. We found quite a few that still retain their original either blued finish or the World War II zinc phosphate, that green Parkerized finish.
Awesome.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, really neat.
It's another Winchester, but you can see that one has our zinc phosphate finish.
Yeah, it's a lot greener, yeah.
Yeah. This one, we found a few Berretta-Roma Garands.
Oh, wow. Berretta-Roma. Yeah.
We've only found a handful of these.
Okay.
It's very rare, but after the war, Winchester gave a lot of its tooling, or sold off a lot of its tooling, to Beretta to manufacture Garands. This would later evolve into the BM-59 production line later on, but somehow, some way, Ethiopia ended up with a handful of Beretta Garands in their batch.
Interesting. I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Ethiopia basically tried to grab every single gun that was available for sale. So one way or another, they ended up with just about everything. Just about every single category of firearm, we found something that's very rare. And actually, I've got one pistol, which I'll show you, which might be one of the rarest things we've ever gotten.
Okay, awesome.
Many things that we have, for example, if I move the Mauser actions out of the way, this is something pretty neat that came in with the 50 cal kits that we got.
Okay.
This is an early Colt manufactured M2 50 cal. You can tell by this early style of front, the barrel support.
Wow.
It's pretty neat. They milled them, and it's got that distinct design to it with the long cuts.
Interesting.
And this
That's
one's
pretty cool.
in not too bad a shape, and it's a 49,000 serial number.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, not bad at all.
Pretty neat.
Wow. So as far as these parts kits go, I know in your latest video, I think you said something about having more parts kits come in.
Yes,
Can
we
you,
do.
Give us a little more information about the parts kits.
Yeah, so as y'all may know, we had the BAR, the Thompson, both M1A1, 1928A1. We've got all sorts of different parts kits coming out. And very soon we'll have even more rare parts kits coming out of Ethiopia. You may have seen that we've had some MG42s that have shown up there. I've seen later machine guns, belt fed, lots. I've even seen a picture of an M60. I'm not sure if we're getting that one or not.
Man.
Yeah. But there's all sorts of very rare parts kits coming out. So I can't get into the exact details of the full list, but nonetheless, if anybody wants to keep tuned to our website and YouTube, soon when they get released, we'll have it all published there.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. Just
everything. In fact, this is a really neat one.
Cavalry 88 that's cut down or something. It looks kind of short.
Yeah. This is a actually, believe it or not, we believe it is a factory Cavalry 88 carbine. It was sent for a different contract, destined for a different contract. From what I recall, but don't hold me to it, I believe Uruguay. I may be wrong on that, but it is one of only 5 that we saw in the batch, and they're all consistently in this exact length and modification. So we notice there's some sort of standard to it.
Yeah, if you notice, the rear sight's shorter than your standard Cavalry 88s.
Exactly. And they
your
don't appear to be a shortened rear sight. It appears to be manufactured to that dedicated spec.
Yeah, because the block on the bottom looks a lot shorter as well.
Exactly.
And the shroud's shorter and the barrel's shorter.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would have taken that would have come from the manufacturer trying to get that shroud that short,
Most likely.
Yeah. That's what I would suspect.
That's
pretty cool, yeah. All right, Shaw. So explain a little bit more about the Luger imports from Ethiopia.
So we've got a handful of Lugers that came out of Ethiopia. We've got all sorts of date ranges and codes, both World War I, World War II, and the East German Vopo. Most of these were overhauled by the Vopo, which is the Volkspolizei. It was overhauled for the Volkspolizei by the East Germans. Well, this is a S code Krieghoff-Sul Luger. This is actually quite rare.
Wow, definitely.
And we've also got another one here. This is more of a standard one, a 1937 S42 code. So you can see that a lot of them are original components. They were just overhauled and refinished. And then, of course, they put on the Volkspolizei grips, which are that Bakelite material with a center medallion in them.
Cool. Wow. Yeah.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Let's take a next look at this. This one's actually quite a bit nicer. 1939 42 code.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you clean these at all?
We do a brief cleaning on them just to make sure that there's no mechanical issues, and also just overview the whole pistol. But in general, we don't do a extremely deep clean on that. We just don't have the time. We're a very small facility, and manpower is limited. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, we try to clean it up to where you can get a good idea of what you're purchasing. As you may have seen, we list these in individual listings, so we want to make sure that you can see all the markings, but we don't do a full deep cleaning.
All right, awesome. And so you can expect this to come out a little bit better with some better cleaning.
Absolutely. Yeah. These, like I mentioned, have had just a very brief wipe down, but if you were to go through and properly oil it and steel wool off any rust or any issues that you come across, they'll turn out great.
Awesome. The bluing looks pretty good on this one.
Yeah, not too bad at all.
Yeah.
And a nice clear Mauser banner.
Yeah, that's nice, yeah. Were they stored in a cabinet, do you know? Or do you think they were just kind of out in the open like everything else?
To my knowledge, they were stored in large chests, kind of like what they store large barrels in, or any surplus machine gun parts, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So they weren't just laying out in a chicken coop or anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they weren't in a perfectly air-conditioned environment by any means.
Yeah. Now, are you individually listing these on the website?
We are. At the moment, we're listing every single one with individual price points and photos of left side, right side. We even include bore photos on every single one of these.
Okay, so everyone will have a bore check.
Yes, every single Luger that we currently sell not only has a bore check, but also a test fire. We run 3 rounds through each pistol.
Really?
And you've got a full picture of bore and everything. So we try to make sure that everybody knows exactly what they're getting.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And you said the Lugers, actually, the bore condition is actually pretty good on these?
It's pretty impressive. We've only ran across a few that have a really unserviceable bore, but in general, the bores on these are at least good, and a lot of them, as you've seen on the website even, if you want to go take a look, they're really great. It's really impressive. Yeah.
All right, what else we got here?
Well, we got a nice Irwin Pedersen M1 Carbine. This one will be listing quite soon.
Irwin Pedersen, you don't see that too often.
Yeah, and it's that 1.76 million serial number range.
Okay, wow.
And that is exclusive to the Irwin Pedersen block. And this is the contract that Irwin Pedersen was originally signed up for to complete, but they were unable to do so, so it got transferred to a different manufacturer. But there are still a handful that have the Irwin Pedersen marks on.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, and again, just one of those rarities that shows up out of Ethiopia that you don't know was there until you start digging through it. And we've also got a M95 sniper, too. This one's pretty neat. Unfortunately, we did not find any of the scopes yet, but at least we got some of the original snipers with their scope mount bases.
So you've got more than one of these M95 snipers.
Yeah, we've had about 2 or 3. Not very many, but we found a couple as we've gone through.
Okay, all right.
And let's see what else we have. We've got another one of these Colt Python. This is another earlier one. You can see it does have a little bit of finish wear, but otherwise it's all pretty much complete. And this one, when we ran the serial number, was a 1957 production. So this is the 3rd year of production on this one.
Okay.
With a fairly low serial number. It's a 4-digit.
And that ended up in Ethiopia.
Yeah, in all places, Ethiopia.
Wow.
And let's take one more look at this one. This is what I was referring to earlier. This is a Colt Python that's in pretty nice shape considering where it came from. But what's really special about it is that it is serial number 10.
Wait, what?
Yep. All matching for both the frame, the swing arm, and even the side plate. I have double checked. This is all original serial number 10, 1st year of production.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep. One of only 299 made that year.
These Colt collectors, man. If you're a Colt collector, you got to check this out.
It's quite rare.
Yeah.
So, again, this is just one of those things that it comes out of Ethiopia, and you know upon receiving it that, sure, they have rare pistols. They have Colt Pythons and this and that. But when you really get into it and start looking at it, you realize that it's even more rare than you thought.
Wow. P38s?
Yeah, we do have a couple of those. Let's see. This one is a very late war. This is an SVW code.
Okay, wow.
1945. And we'll take a look at that. You can see it's all still functional and not
Very
too
nice,
bad.
very nice.
And it appears to be non-overhauled. Of course, it is a little bit worn on the finish, but this is not something that was refurbished post-war.
Okay, awesome.
And here's another neat, rare one. This is, again, something that you don't realize until you start looking through. This is, make sure it's all unloaded, this is a Walther Mod HP, which is the predecessor to the P38. This was the model that Walther introduced to be adopted as the P38.
Wow, interesting, wow.
Pretty much identical to a P38. You know, there's not much that has changed other than markings, but nonetheless, very rare.
Very rare. Let me see if I can get a close-up of that. Let's see, Mod HP, Mod HP. Yeah, there we go. Wow, yeah. That's interesting.
Pretty neat.
Yeah. Another Garand here.
Yeah, here's another neat Garand. This is a very early serial number.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah, 5494.
Wow, 4-digit serial number M1.
pretty incredible. This one would have been built as a gas trap. This has, of course, been modified to take the spline gas block, but neat nonetheless.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Awesome. Yeah, you don't see those too often.
Yeah, quite rare.
Mm-hmm. All right, Shaw. Well, thanks for having us. And where can folks find you at?
So you can find our website. It's royaltigerimports.com. And we also have our YouTube channel, Royal Tiger Imports, among other things. We also are on Rumble, so you can find us, of course, all over the internet. And definitely make sure to sign up for our e-flyer. That's where we post any new products or any sort of new inventory that's come onto the website that's ready to go.
All right, and one last question here. How much more can we expect from Ethiopia?
You can expect quite a lot. We don't have much of it in yet of this little bit of the newest batch, but like I said, definitely stay tuned and you'll see quite a variety of stuff coming in.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, that's the warehouse tour of the Royal Tiger Imports HQ. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. If you found value in this video, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. And as I always like to say, be sure to learn history and curate history. Make it a great day.
Pulverize the like button and subscribe.
All right, so we got some Cuban food.